Hello, Twitch. Artemu here, and once again, we are playing Pokemon LeafGreen. Oh man, it's been a long time since I've last been doing this. Yeah, I know it's been a long time since I've last played Pokemon LeafGreen, but I have an unfortunately good reason for it. The last episode of my LeafGreen playthrough was several months ago, and that was mainly because my laptop had crashed. There was a hard drive failure, and I lost everything, including my save data from my Pokemon LeafGreen emulator, so yeah, that was very unfortunate. It pretty much killed any motivation I had for continuing this until my laptop eventually got fixed. Mostly. It was still pretty bad. And I didn't feel like streaming on it until I had a more solid system. But now I got a new desktop PC. I managed to completely catch up to where I was in terms of gameplay for the LeafGreen playthrough, so we're all good to continue this adventure. Before I begin, just want to do a quick overview of my team, since it's been a long time since I've used these Pokemon. We of course have Mimian, my Mr. Mime, who's been oh so helpful ever since we gotten him. Raffian, my Charmeleon, my trusty starter. You may have noticed that because I had to redo everything, all my Pokemon have completely different natures and stats than what they had previously. That's an unfortunate side effect of having to redo all the gameplay. I try to get the Pokemon as exact as I could in terms of genders and stuff, but that's pretty much the only thing I tried to replicate. Then of course we have Margarine, my Butterfree, Bella, my Victreebel, Pine, my Sandslash, and of course Crunches, the Snorlax. I really do like this team. It's very solid. But anyway, it's time that we resume our progress from last time and continue to make our way to Fuchsia City. So I believe we checked the town map. We're currently on Route 14. We only have 2 more routes to go in order to get to Fuchsia, which also houses our next gym. I'm going to try to get to Fuchsia City and fully explore what it has to offer in this episode. We'll probably take on the gym too. It's not that bad, especially since I have a Mr. Mime with me. We should do very well. Alright. So we're just going to continue our journey south and eventually make our way to the west. The Legend of the Winged Mirages. I don't know, but I hear some people have made teams based around them. So yeah, there's going to be a lot of battles on our way to the next town. So I figure now would be just a good time to talk about topics that I couldn't talk about over the last couple of months. Namely about those 2 games that are coming out next month. I can hardly believe that they are almost here. It's just amazing. Good work, Mimian. But yeah, in a couple of weeks, Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Pokemon Let's Go Eevee are gonna be here. And I know a lot of the internet has been kind of skeptical about whether these are gonna be good games, like if they're worthy successors to the original old Generation 1 games or a remake like this. I am pretty optimistic about it. I think the new mechanics they introduced fit the series very well. I love the art direction it has going for it. And I'm sure whatever you say about the game's difficulty and the change in its capture mechanics, I still say it's going to be fun. So I've been playing this series for over 20 years now. Well, nearly 20 years, and I just like to see the different ways that the formula gets shaken up at times. Like with how Gen 7 and he had the trials instead of the gym battles. I felt that was really interesting. And of course, what we have to look forward to in terms of Gen 8, we don't know about how those games are going to be. But from what we've seen of Let's Go, I think we are going to get some really good games. Anyway, let's switch Pine in here. Oof, only got one rock slide left. Let's make it count. Ah, just barely got it. I think my team might actually be lower leveled than what they used to be in the last stream, so kind of have that going against us, but I'm sure we'll do just fine at the upcoming gym. But going back to Let's Go, I just think a lot of the changes they make to the formula are pretty interesting. I mean, you got the capture mechanics, which are inspired by Pokemon Go, and while that has been debated on whether it's a good change or not, it's at least different enough from the standard formula, and a big enough change from the original games, and especially the remakes, that I figure it's worth trying out. So let's fight these two. And a lot of the other content they are putting into this game is just really cool. Like, of course, you got both Pikachu and Eevee as the starter Pokemon, depending on which game you buy. And I do like the fact that while these Pokemon are incapable of evolving, they've been given enough tools in order to justify using them. Like, they have higher stats, and they have exclusive attacks, which just really brings out the most of them and really adds to their personality. Like, Pikachu has signature attacks that are based on its abilities to use Surf and Fly back in Pokemon Yellow, and how Eevee has signature attacks based on its free evolutions. Just, that's really cool. Of course, we got Jesse and James returning in the games for the first time in years. I'm really interested in seeing how that plays out, and how they're portrayed in the game. Because they're some of my favorite characters in the show. They always have been. But we rarely see them in the game, so it'll be nice to see them. I also like that the variety of Pokemon on the different routes is just significantly more diverse than what we've seen previously. Like, in areas like Viridian Forest and the cycling road and whatnot, have a lot of Pokemon that weren't there in the original games. Like, you can now run into Pidgey and Oddish in Viridian Forest. I think that is a sizable reason to want to get these games in order to try out these Pokemon that you couldn't normally get that soon. I might also be very receptive to it because of how Pokemon Red was the first Pokemon game I ever played, so getting to essentially play an enhanced version of these games with these really great visuals and this new play style, well, to me as a longtime fan of the series, I think it's going to be really good. And I'm just trying to imagine, like, this is probably the console Pokemon game that I've always wanted to play. Like, it's the game that I've always wanted to see on the Nintendo 64, on the GameCube, on the Wii and Wii U. Like, this is truly outstanding what they've done with the games. So, yeah, those are my basic thoughts on Let's Go. I definitely think they're going to be good. They're different, but I think the differences are in the right spots, and that's still going to be a fantastic game. And then, of course, in the time between these games, we've also learned that there are new Pokemon. So, yeah, we've learned that there are 2 new Pokemon being introduced in Let's Go. They're both Steel-type Pokemon, which I think is really good, considering that there is so little Steel Pokemon in Kanto. Like, I believe Magnemite and Magneton are the only ones, so they're nice to have in terms of type diversity. And of course, I freaking love the designs. I think Meltan is just adorable. That was this little wad of Mercury with this nut to serve as a head, and I like how it has the ball bearing to serve as the eye. It's just really cute. I love its design. And its evolution, Melmetal, it's a nice continuation in terms of its design and its progress. I do like how it's basically a fusion between multiple Meltan, but in a way that doesn't seem lazy, like with how Dugtrio is just free Diglett. I think it's very nice in terms of design. I'm a little iffy on the name because I think Meltitan would have been a much better name. I think it sounds a lot cooler and rolls off the tongue a lot better, but Melmetal, it's still alright. I'm definitely looking forward to using this Pokemon once Let's Go is released. Yeah, another part of the reason why I've been holding off on doing this stream until now is because I have been so busy with work lately. Like, consistently, I've been doing 5 days a week in terms of shifts. It's been pretty brutal. But, I mean, I do like having money, so all that is fine. Yeah, eat that Muck's dream. That's probably a dirty dream. Yeah. But yeah, that's very good. One more Dream Eater should do it. Margarine! Alright, Minimize. That's such an annoying attack, and we're not going to see the end of it for quite a while. Yeah, but besides work, come on. Besides work, I've also been brushing up on my drawings and improving my art style. Of course, you can see a few of the drawings I've done for my Pokemon team on the left side of the stream. But if you want to see more of my artwork, you can and use the link I have at the bottom to go to my DeviantArt account and check out some of the drawings I've done, because I've been doing a lot of different art. Mainly digital, but also practicing some more traditional drawings. Because in the last few months, I have just been obsessed with doing a lot of digital drawings and improving my art style. Like, I've mainly been doing some of my original characters and a lot of Steven Universe fan art, because I just really enjoy that show. I've also been busy watching the Pokemon Marathon stream that's been going on Twitch, which has been interesting. It's nice to get to revisit this series, kind of catch up on events that I never got to see as a kid, and also relive a lot of moments I haven't seen in forever. It's just been pretty great. It's gotten me to see a lot of the high points in the show as well as the low points. Personally, I'd say that the best season so far that's been shown on stream has been Master Quest, the final season of Johto. I just felt it had a lot of really good moments, a lot of good character moments for Ash and Misty. And the final battle between Ash and Gary is just so satisfying after seeing their rivalry start so long ago. So I really enjoyed that. I definitely felt it was a really great season in terms of its direction. On the other hand, I think that probably the worst season we've gotten is the first season of the Ruby and Sapphire series. I just did not like the way Ash was characterized in it. I felt like the slow start to May's storyline was kind of weak. Max was pretty obnoxious early on. I mean, that season did have some good moments, like when Jesse and James had to give up their Arbok and Weezing in order to save that colony of Ekans and Coughing from that poacher. I felt that was really well done and very emotional. But on the whole, I felt it was still a very weak season. But overall, I'm really enjoying the show. Getting to revisit the Kanto, Johto, and Hoenn seasons have been a really good experience. And I'm really looking forward to getting to revisit the Sinnoh episodes next week, because I just really enjoyed the Sinnoh saga. I felt it's among some of the best that the anime has ever gotten. In terms of its characters, its story, its direction, and animation, I just feel it's very solid. So yeah, I've been very grateful for the marathon of the anime lately. Although it is pretty exhausting having to watch all these episodes in a row. When I was a kid, I only could watch like one episode a day. So it kind of gets me to realize which parts of the show just really speed by too quickly. Like, I know Battle Frontier was supposed to be basically a filler season until Diamond and Pearl got released, but it just goes by so quickly. I didn't realize how short that season really was. But I still enjoy it. Good work, Bella. There's some grass up there. But there's nothing in there that I don't already have. It's kind of a problem with these routes, is that there's very little variety in terms of the Pokemon you get, so it's pretty much all the same. I currently have 41 Pokemon that I've captured. I highly recommend that you have at least 60 Pokemon before you finish this game, because there is a good reward for you for catching as many Pokemon as you can, which I have been doing a pretty good job of getting as many Pokemon as I can, especially with the ones that are exclusive to certain areas. Like, I remember when I originally streamed this game, it took me forever to find a Cubone in the Pokemon Tower. But when I had to go back and replay this game to catch up on my progress, I found a Cubone really quickly, like before I even finished the Pokemon Tower. So that was pretty cool. Good work, Mimian. You can handle this next one. So yeah, besides working on my art and following the Pokemon Marathon on Twitch, I've also been catching up with a lot of the different channels that I watch on YouTube and Twitch. I know there's been a lot of issues with YouTube lately, but still gotta support the people I love to watch. And if you haven't watched the Team 4-Star D&D streams, I highly recommend them, because they're very funny, they're very thrilling, and they have quite a few touching moments to them too. So I definitely enjoy them. I've even drawn some fan art that has been shown on stream a few times, so you can get to see a bit of the stuff that I've created by checking them out. Speaking of Team of 4-Star, man, that season finale for Dragon Ball Z Abridged was fantastic. I freaking love how they ended the Cell series. It was just a very touching, very exciting conclusion to this really long, really exciting, and also hilarious arc. I loved it. And I'm kind of just stalling for time because I don't really know what to talk about now. Once we get to Fuchsia City, I'll actually have some stuff to really go into, but I'm just scraping the bottom of the barrel right now. I don't really... I just really don't know what I can talk about without going political. Because if there's one thing you definitely should not do on the internet is discuss your political views, because that just brings out a lot of ire from people. Good work, Margarine. Come on, hit yourself. Yes! That Grimer just killed itself. Oh, that is sad. This wheezing shouldn't be too hard to take out. Margarine has been still pretty effective, but her low stats compared to everyone else is starting to catch up to her. I mean, it's been pretty inevitable, but I am probably gonna drop Margarine eventually. I already do have a replacement in mind. We're not going to see it for quite a while, so we'll still get some use out of Margarine. It's just that she's not going to be with us for very much longer. We'll probably have to say goodbye to her in a future stream. You can probably handle this, Bella. It may be a flying type, but you're very strong. You can handle it. Yeah, we did more damage from a neutral attack. We're fine. Wigglytuff. You know what? Let's get Crunches some action. We haven't used him all that much. Just my big, beefy bear. Yeah, he's out of Headbutt, but he's got Brick Break. I pretty much brought Crunches onto the team to serve as my main tank to soak up damage that anyone else on the team can't take, and also to deal just really high physical damage. And he's been pretty effective at that. Bam! Good work. There's only a few more battles to go, and then we'll finally be in Fuchsia. Aw, you have good choice in Pokemon, my dear. I really love Bulbasaur. It's my favorite out of the original trio. Bella, wake up. Luckily for me, I can use the Pokéflute to wake up Pokemon in battle. It's my favorite little detail about the Kanto games, and it kind of makes me wish that the Pokéflute was more present in the later generation games. Because I know in X and Y you need the Pokéflute to complete this one quest to wake up a Snorlax. But then the Pokéflute just gets taken away from you and you can't use it in battle. It's kind of a shame because I just really like it. Raffian can handle this next one. She's actually really close to finally getting a better fire attack. So I'm really looking forward to that. She's also really close to evolving, which she'll definitely need this. Oh, right. This is awkward. Let's go for Margarine then. I kind of want to reserve my PowerPoint restoring items because they can be very effective later in the game against really major characters. I don't want to have to waste them on this very simple battle that I can just get through with my other Pokemon. Although that is kind of a problem with this area of the game, because you have to go through 3 very long routes and battle all these trainers without any breaks or any places to rest and restore your Pokemon. That's a thing I really like about the later games. How on particularly long routes or dungeons, there are NPCs that you can talk to and they'll restore your Pokemon free of charge. And I think that's a really good mechanic that helps to keep the pacing of those games very fine. Like in Black and White especially, when you have the nurse and the doctor characters that you actually have to battle before you can get your Pokemon healed. I think that's a really cool idea. And that is something I would like to see in the future of the series. I know that everyone has their own opinions on how the direction of the series should go, and I would really like it if Gen 8 would go in for a more open world feel, kind of like Breath of the Wild and Mario Odyssey. Just a very big, open environment that really emphasizes the exploration part of the series and discovering new things. I think that'd be very nice. And of course, you can still have gyms and whatnot, but I don't know, I just feel like it's a natural progression for the series. Ugh, excuse me. Oddish. Let's let Margarine handle this. I I don't want to have to heal up Bella unless we're still a few battles away from the next area. I guess before this stream I could have ran back to Vermilion City to heal up my Pokemon before tackling this route, but I just didn't want to feel like doing it. We're getting a lot of use out of this Pokeflute. Another thing I kind of hope for with Let's Go is that a lot of the trainer battles get changed up so that trainers have a lot more varied teams, because for a while we just been fighting the same Pokemon over and over again with very little changes. Ooh, we finally got Psybeam. That's a much stronger attack than Confusion. I will happily take that. That'll be really useful in the next gym too. Got another Oddish. So let's blast it with our new attack. Yeah, that's so good. I probably haven't said this enough, but I just really love Butterfree. It's a very useful Pokemon, especially in this generation because it gets a really good ability that helps it out in battle so much. Okay, we're almost at the end of this route, I promise. Your birds are shivering, you better get them a coat then. Ah, now here's a good Pokemon, Dodrio. It's very fast and very powerful. And also one of the few Pokemon to get both Drill Peck and Tri-Attack. And it definitely makes the use out of those attacks very well. And of course, I just love the gimmick of how it's a free-headed ostrich. I really like it. It's definitely one of the more unique Generation 1 Pokemon. Definitely has a charming design. Good work, Pine. Swift. That's a normal attack that allows you to always hit. It's not affected by accuracy, so it's very useful, but I prefer Slash. That is just a more effective attack because of its high crit chance. Anyway, let's have Crunches take care of the rest. Take that. Yeesh, how'd you survive that? I'm the size of a house. One of the things I really like about Snorlax is that it's very diverse in terms of the types of attacks it can learn, which is something that applies to a lot of normal-type Pokemon, but with Snorlax it's especially shocking, because you wouldn't expect this huge, obese bear to learn attacks like Surf. It's crazy. But it's part of what makes me really love Snorlax. It's one of my favorite normal-type Pokemon. That's very good. That's pretty cool. I I wonder if bird calls actually work. Like if you whistle something and a bird just flies over and sits on your hand. I mean, I've never done it, but I guess some people just have this natural talent. I mean, I like to imagine I have a pretty good chemistry with animals. Because I've loved animals ever since I was really small. But that's just something I've never been able to do. And it kind of makes me sad. Crunches is very low in PP. I'm not sure what I want to... Well, let's see what he can do. I mean, this is only a Farfetch. It's not going to do much damage to us. Farfetch is one of those Pokemon I really like, despite the fact that it's kind of terrible. It has very low stats, and it's definitely gotten better attacks in later games, but it's just really weak. And it's a shame, because for years, like ever since I was 10, I've wanted there to be an evolution for Farfetch to actually make it better. And it turns out, Game Freak actually did design an evolution for Farfetch back when they were developing Pokemon Gold and Silver. But then for whatever reason, they scrapped it, and we've never gotten an evolution for Farfetch'd again. We haven't even gotten a Mega Evolution, which I think would have been just as effective. I mean, Mega Evolution has really helped some Pokemon like Mawile stand out, so I think it could really apply for Farfetch'd. I just really hope that they give it a second chance, and they give us the Farfetch'd evolution that I've been craving for so long. I mean, I could just imagine it being like a samurai duck, using its beak as a blade to cut down its enemies. I just really want to see it get some more love. And give evolutions to some other Pokemon that could really use the attention, like Delibird and Luvdisc. Just a lot of the very weak Pokemon that struggle to keep up compared to everyone else. Alright, that takes care of that guy. Man, we are really running on fumes right now. Okay, this is the last trainer. After this, we're finally in the city. Oh, thank goodness. 'Cause this route has just been tortured. And the thing is, there are still trainers here that we have not fought yet. They're up on the area that we can't get to unless we have cut. I'm sure I'll probably take him out later when I want to train my Pokemon, but for now, it's just unnecessary. Ugh, man. Crunches, wake up. I know you're used to sleeping, but come on. So in other news, how about that Mega Man 11, huh? After all these years, they finally made another Mega Man game. And from what I've seen, it's definitely a good game. I've heard a lot of good things about it, so I'm definitely going to pick it up eventually. Just that I've started to gain more of an interest in the Mega Man games in the last few years. I didn't grow up with the games, so... Ooh, there's the immunity coming into effect. I didn't grow up with the games, so I didn't have any nostalgic attachment to them. But now that I'm adult, I do see that they are very good designed games. Ooh, finally, Body Slam. This is one of the best normal attacks that Snorlax can get. Just very strong and has a chance of inflicting paralysis. This is so good, it's going to be one of Crunch's signature attacks for quite a while. And you got a Tangela. Well, what's a better chance than to test out our new attack? Crush that spaghetti! Alright. Tangela does have good defense, so I'm not surprised that it survived. But we're finally done with this route. Just felt like it went on forever, but now we're done. And there's really no reason to revisit it, because I've gone every Pokemon I can get there. At least I think so. I believe I got Venonat before. I have never been happier to see a Nurse Joy in my life. Thank you. Yeah, I hear you, man. It can be hard to raise a single Pokemon, but it can also be... There's also the challenge of raising multiple Pokemon. So yeah, this is my box at the moment. All the Pokemon I've caught up to this point. Obviously, I could be doing a bit better in terms of obtaining Pokemon, but I could also be doing worse. I mean, that's not going to be a problem, because we're going to get a lot of Pokemon today. And you'll see why very shortly. Just look for our items. Pretty good. Alright. Now, believe it or not, the gym is not the only point of interest in Fuchsia City. There's actually a lot of stuff we can do here. So this guy is the move deleter. If you have a Pokemon that knows a HM and you want them to forget it, this is the guy to talk to. He will make them forget any HM. And I might actually use that on Bella, because there is no point in the game where we need to use Flash again. We're all done with the one area that needs it. Let's get rid of Flash. Are there any HM moves I don't want on my other guys? I don't think so. Yeah, no, we're good. This house is not too important, but there is something interesting about it. Bill files his own Pokemon data on his PC. Did he show you? He sure did. The Safari Zone's Warden's old, but he's still very much active. All his teeth are false, though. You met Bill? He's my grandson. He always liked collecting things, even as a child. So apparently Bill was originally from Fuchsia City. That's pretty nice. And if we go over here, the Safari Zone Warden's house. I want that. But we can't push that rock yet. Hello, sir. Oh, what? So apparently this guy can't talk. Maybe we can find a way to help him out. And if you talk to this guy and tell him that you like fishing, he gives you the good rod. It's pretty much the intermediate rod between the old rod and the super rod. That's pretty effective at catching Pokemon. but since I already have the Super Rod, it's not that helpful. There is a pond here if you want to catch Goldeen and Sea King, though. But I'll have plenty of time to catch some Pokemon later. So if we go in here... Warden Slowpoke is running a promotion campaign right now. Try to get to the farthest corner of the Safari Zone. If you can make it, you'll win a very convenient prize. We nicknamed the Warden Slowpoke. You know, he has a vacant look like a Slowpoke. I do quite like Slowpoke's design. It just looks so dopey, but it's very cute too. Warden Slowpoke came in, but I couldn't understand him. I think he's got a speech problem. Yeah, I have problems talking with people too, but not like that. So as we can see here, at the north part of Fuchsia City, they have a zoo. I think it's really nice. Catching one's all up to chance. Yeah, man. Boy, is that true. Voltorb, the very image of a Pokeball. I believe lore-wise that Voltorb is like a Pokeball that got exposed to radiation and it mutated into a sentient life form. It's really weird. Lapras, aka the King of the Seas. This is probably one of my favorite Generation 1 Pokemon. Not only does it have a fantastic design and is very useful in battle, it's got a surprisingly tragic lore to it that I think just really elevates it. Oh man, now we can get Ultra Balls. These are the best Pokeballs that you can buy normally. They're much more effective at catching Pokemon than Great Balls. Speaking of which, let's buy a few. I don't really have to worry about too many TMs at the moment, so I'm not too upset about saving my money. There's nothing I want to sell, so... So yeah, Ultra Balls are great. I highly recommend you get them. Especially for some really, really rare Pokemon coming up. Eventually. And of course I still got these things, which I'll probably use later. Kabuto, an extremely rare Pokemon that was regenerated from a fossil. If we had chosen the Dome fossil back in Mount Moon, this Kabuto would be replaced with an Ammonite. So it kind of gives an explanation as to what happened to that other fossil that you didn't pick. I wish I was a Kangaskhan baby. Love to be a substitute for a baby and snuggle in the mother Kangaskhan's belly pouch. But only Pokemon can use the technique substitute. Want me to teach substitute to one of your Pokemon? Substitute is a pretty good support attack. You sacrifice a quarter of your max HP to create basically a dummy to take attacks for you. And if the dummy takes as much damage as was spent in order to create it, the dummy goes away. But in return, the dummy can't be affected by status attacks like Poison Powder and Sleep Powder. So it can be very effective when dealing with certain Pokemon. Kangaskhan, a maternal Pokemon that raises its young in a pouch on its belly. I do like Kangaskhan, it's got a really cool design, and I love its theme about parenthood, which extends greatly to its Mega Evolution. I think it's so cool how the baby becomes more active that way. But now we're coming to one of the biggest attractions of Fuchsia City, the Safari Zone. This is essentially a Pokemon reserve full of Pokemon that are usually hard to acquire in some areas, and also Pokemon that are exclusive to this area. There is a lot of Pokemon that we can catch here, like this Nidorino, the male counterpart of Nidorina. Okay, so how the Safari Zone works is that you cannot use your Pokemon to weaken the enemy. You have to throw a Safari Ball at the Pokemon to try and catch it. It's about as effective as a Great Ball, I believe, so you got a pretty good chance of catching the Pokemon even though it's at full health. Unfortunately, the Pokemon in the Safari Zone have a chance to run away, which can be pretty annoying, especially if you run into a shiny Pokemon in the Safari Zone. Then it's just brutal. But there are ways that you can alter the behavior of the Pokemon to make them easier to catch. Because as you can see here, there are several options besides using the ball. If you throw a rock at a Pokemon, they become more aggressive. In this state, they become easier to catch, but they also have a higher chance of running away. Or you can throw bait at the Pokemon, which placates them. They become less likely to run away, but you also have a harder time to catch them. So it's up to you whether you want to take the risk of making them easier to catch, but more likely to run away, or make them less likely to run away, but harder to catch. And there are so many Pokemon here that you'll definitely be spending a lot of time here if you're going for Pokédex completion. There's a Paris. Since Paris can be found here, it can be a good idea to catch as many Paris as you can because they hold an item that can be very useful later in the game. If you go up here, there's a Leaf Stone. It evolves certain Pokemon like Gloom and Weepinbell. So there's a full restore. I'm not fully exploring this area just yet, because as that one NPC said, there is a promo going on if we can reach the end of the Safari Zone. And we have a limited amount of time. As you can see on the top left of the screen, that shows how many steps I've taken. And once you take more than 600 steps, you are booted out of the Safari Zone. So you definitely want to manage your time and try to pick the best routes in order to navigate the Safari Zone to get to the Pokemon that you want. Ooh, there's an item I missed. I'll have to go for that later, so I'm already running dangerously low on time. Eesh, I haven't caught anything yet, and that's so distressing to me. I believe this is a Quick Claw. That's a hold item that gives your Pokemon a chance to always attack first. So if you give it to a slow Pokemon like Snorlax, that can be very effective. Let's try and catch this Nidorina. Like, there are so many Pokemon in this Safari Zone that I could spend the entire day just in here catching as many Pokemon as I can, and I could easily get almost 60 Pokemon just by staying in here. Steel Wing is an attack that most bird Pokemon can learn. It's a steel type attack which can be effective at dealing with their weakness to rock attacks. Another interesting thing about the Safari Zone is that it's divided up into 4 sections, and each section has different Pokemon in them. So if you want to make the most of the Safari Zone, you have to explore all 4 areas in order to get to the exclusive Pokemon. Oof. Ah, here's Rhyhorn. This is one of the Pokemon that can only be found in the Safari Zone. It's a ground rock type, very similar to Geodude and Onix, in that it focuses mainly on attack and defense. And it has very good stats in those areas. I know it comes late into the game, but it can be a very effective team member. Its massive bones are 1,000 times harder than human bones. Its tackle can knock a semi-trailer flying. So yeah, it's a very good Pokemon, but not what I'm looking for at the moment. So there's another one. I believe we're almost done with the Safari Zone. Yep, we have more than enough steps. Because over here we get the Gold Teeth. A set of false teeth lost by the Safari Zone's warden. It makes his smile sparkle. That is gross, but as you remember, the warden had a very hard time talking. And he's willing to offer a reward to anyone who can find his missing teeth. We'll get back to him on that. 32 Double Team. That is an attack that raises your evasiveness. For obvious reasons, it's banned in competitive battles. Ah, finally! You're the first person to reach the secret house! Although I made a campaign for a grand opening, I was getting worried no one would win our campaign prize. Congratulations, you've won. And for that, we get HM free, Surf. This is, in my humble opinion, the best HM in the game. If we go up to our TM case, and look at this, 95 base power. It also strikes both of your opponents in a double battle. And can be learned by a lot of Pokemon, including Snorlax. I'm not going to teach it to any of my Pokemon now. There is a Pokemon I will be adding to the team that can make excellent use out of this move. But I'm just saying that it's there if you want to use it. Now, while you can run into Pokemon in the grass in the Safari Zone, there are also some Pokemon that you can get in the water. You can surf on the water to get them. You can use your fishing rod, which I highly recommend. Because when you fish here, you have a chance of running into Dratini. This thing is a Dragon-type Pokemon. And as a Dragon type, it is very effective. It's resistant to grass, fire, water, and electric attacks, and it's only weak to other dragons. Needless to say, dragons are as well as ice. Needless to say, dragon Pokemon are highly sought after, because they can fit into pretty much any team, and have very good stats all around. This Dratini, while its stats aren't the best, evolves into one of the strongest Pokemon in the game. It is that good. Let's see if we can catch it. I know I could set a save state to essentially give me infinite tries at catching this thing, but I'm not going to do that. I'm going to play fair. Also to note about Dratini is that the Safari Zone is the only place you can catch it. So if you want to add Dratini to your team, now's the time. Or you could spend a couple of coins at the game corner in order to get a Dratini. But compared to how much money coins cost compared to the $500 you have to spend to enter the Safari Zone, I think this is the most effective means of getting it. Come on, if we could actually get this thing, that would be so good. Even if I do get Dratini, I'm not going to add it to my team. But it is a very good Pokemon. Everything I said about it is just... they're very effective. Can fit on a pretty much any team you want. They're that good. Yeah, we actually got it! Aw, that is so good. Also, this thing is cute as heck. You just look at its little snout. It's so cute. Long considered a mythical Pokemon until recently when a small colony was found living underwater. Ah, man, this thing is just so adorable. Alright, we only got a few steps left. I'm gonna see if I can probably get one more thing in the grass. I mean, I am coming back in here to try and get a few more of the exclusive Pokemon. But let's see what as well as get any items that I've missed. Like here, we got a Venomoth. It learns a lot of the same attacks that Butterfree gets, but it's a bug poison type instead of a bug flying type. So, if you do want to use what's essentially a Butterfree, but with a different typing, you can go for it. It's pretty alright, but it's not one of my favorites. Go away, Nidoran. Hi, Rhyhorn. Yeah, I haven't even scratched the surface of how many Pokemon are in the Safari Zone. There are so many to catch here. Yep, Safari game is over, so we get booted out. But that's not everything that I've shown in here. Now that we got the Surf HM, we can just casually roam around here, catch whatever Pokemon we can get. And talk to some of the NPCs that can be found here as well. Because I went straight to the right when I first entered. Which, kind of a good thing, because to the left, there's not a whole lot of stuff. Oh, turns out I didn't catch a Venonat. Well, now's a good time as any. Of course, any of the Pokemon you catch in the Safari Zone can be added to your team right away if you like. Their levels range from the 20s to 30s, so you can pretty much add any of them to your team right away. That's nice. Lives in the shadows of tall trees where it eats bugs. It's attracted by light at night. So yeah, Venonat. It learns a lot of the same attacks that Butterfree gets, but it's a little weaker. Whether you want to use Venonat or Venomoth is completely up to personal preference. I know what I like, though. I'm catching Pokemon to take home as gifts. Where did my boyfriend Eric go? If you remember, in the zoo portion of the Safari Zone, there was a guy named Eric asking where Sarah was. Turns out that she was inside the Safari Zone. Poor guy. I do kind of want to stay in the entrance of the Safari Zone because there is a Pokemon that can only be found in this first area. Of course, I'm talking about a very powerful bug-type Pokemon that you can encounter that varies depending on which version of the game you're playing. If you're playing Fire Red, you can encounter Cypher, which is a bug-flying type Pokemon. It's very fast and very strong. If you're playing Leaf Green, you encounter Pinsir, a pure bug type that is very strong, decent defenses, and gets a good variety of attacks. Like, it can learn a lot of fighting type attacks. They're both good Pokemon. I do recommend them if you want to try them out. Especially with a certain gym coming up that, well, there aren't a whole lot of good bug type attacks in this game, so maybe not. They are still very good at Pokemon, though. And and I would easily recommend them for an endgame team. Doduo. We've already gotten Doduo, but we can find it, and I believe Dodrio can also be found here. So Max Potion. That's very good. I believe this is the first time we've seen this. Max Potion will fully restore your Pokemon to full health. While the Hyper Potion can heal up to 200, this is a full heal. So you definitely want to pick that up. I appreciate the suggestion guard too, but I'm only naming Pokemon that I'm using on my team. How many did you catch? I'm Bush from the effort. I caught a Chansey! That makes us all worthwhile. Whew, I'm tired from all the fun. I am so envious about that one guy. Because, you know how the entrance of the Safari Zone, how was that Chansey in the zoo? And how it said that catching it is all up to chance? They're not kidding. Chansey has a 2% encounter rate in this section of the Safari Zone. You have a really hard time running into it, and you'll also have a very hard time catching it because its catch rate is pretty low. I know I didn't save state for Dratini, but if you run into a Chansey here and you're playing on an emulator, I highly recommend using a save state. Because it can take forever to find one. So went up when I was here last. If we go down, this takes us back to the first area. Ah, Execute. This is another of the Pokemon that is exclusive to the Safari Zone. It's a Grass Psychic type, and when it evolves into Exeggutor, it's just a really good Grass type. With good HP, attack, defense, and special attack, I highly recommend it. It's very good, and gets some pretty good moves too. If we go down here, this takes us to the area where we caught the Dratini at. So we're essentially on the other side of that river. Max Revive, that's a really good item. If your Pokemon's fainted, the Max Revive can be used to fully restore their HP. Whereas a Revive only restores them to half. So let's see what's inside this house. Tossing rocks at Pokemon might make them run, but they'll be easier to catch. Using bait will make Pokemon more likely to stick around if they get busy eating. I hiked a lot, but I didn't see any Pokemon I wanted. So yeah, those two basically explain the rock and bait mechanics that I went over previously. Still got quite a few steps left. Let's see if I can get some... Well, let's see if we can try and run into some of the exclusives. Actually, I might not have enough time. Just go over here. This takes us back to the first area. Alright, at least we caught an Execute. And I can use my Leaf Stone to evolve it right away, which will give us even more Pokedex progress. Also, despite its appearance, Execute's not actually eggs, it's seeds. Also, as you can see there, that Execute, when I caught the Execute, I had a full box of Pokemon. So what the PC essentially did was it switched over my box from box 1 to box 2. This was something that couldn't be done in the first 2 generations of the games. So if you had a full PC and you were trying to catch a Pokemon, especially a legendary Pokemon, you would not be able to catch it. So that was so annoying, and I'm really grateful that they changed that for this generation. No, Guard2, I'm not playing this on a Game Boy. This is actually on an emulator. But I already have Pokemon LeafGreen and a system I can play it on anyway, so I don't really think it's that bad. Kind of going back to the Safari Zone encounters, there is one more Pokemon that I haven't mentioned yet that can be found there. Of course, I kind of went over some of the big prizes you can get there, like Cypher, Pinsir, Chansey, and Dratini. You can also get Kangaskhan, which we saw at the zoo. But you can also run into Tauros, which is another normal type Pokemon. It has really high attack and all around good stats, so it's definitely up there as one of those very good Pokemon you can add to your teams. They're really good. Anyway, let's look at the new meat. Hasty. That's good. You have a lot higher speed than you usually do. Sirius is a pretty decent nature for a Rhyhorn. Venonat is okay. Nidorina's pretty good. And Execute. It's decent. Yeah, we got a pretty good haul from the Safari Zone. I would have liked to catch a few more of the exclusive Pokemon, but this was still a pretty good run. And from that expedition, we have boosted our Pokemon count to 46. That's very good. So we're only a few Pokemon away from being able to get one of the final rewards for Pokédex completion. Because previously we got the HM for Flash, we got the Everstone, we got the Item Finder, and we got the Amulet Coin. The last item that we can get for catching 50 Pokemon is the Experience Share. It's a really helpful item for raising your Pokemon, because if a Pokemon's holding the Experience Share, and you let them, and you just leave it on your team without having it go into battle, it gets a portion of the experience. And this is the guy you talk to for getting the Experience Share. A large shining bird is flying towards the sea. Ooh, I forgot this was here. So yeah, that registers one of the legendary Pokemon into your Pokédex. If we can go to the Pokédex in numerical mode and just scroll all the way down, there it is, Articuno. We'll definitely want to try and encounter it so far. Also, checking out the Pokemon in the zoo will also register them into your Pokédex, as we saw with Kabuto. Of course, there's still something that we have to do. Let's give the gold teeth to the Warden.
Ah, thanks, son. You're a real lifesaver. No one could understand a word I said. Not a one. I was too ashamed to show my face around the office, even. Let me give you something for your trouble.
HM4.
Inside HM4, you'll find strength. Lets Pokemon move boulders when you're outside a battle.
This is another one of the HMs that I consider good, but not as good as Surf. It's an 80 pace power, normal type attack that has no additional effect in battle, but it is necessary to complete the game, as well as get to some certain items. I'm going to teach this to Pine. I do like having Slash, but I think the additional power boost is just as good. We could teach it to Crunches, but he just learned Body Slam, which is essentially a stronger version of Strength that has the additional effect of inflicting paralysis. So all in all, this is the better choice. And now we can push that rock and get the rare candy. Now I believe in order to use Strength on the field, you have to get the rainbow badge from Erica, which I have obviously already obtained, so there's no real problem with that. I mean, you can get to Fuchsia City as soon as you deal with Team Rocket in Celadon City and in Lavender Town, so you might not have even beaten Erica by the time you reach Fuchsia City, but I still will try to take her out as soon as I can. So with that, there's one place in Fuchsia City that we have not yet explored. And we shall be going there later, because I want to check out the place south of the city. I have to exercise and warm up before going out for a swim. So yep, on this little beach, we got some swimmers, and they got water Pokemon. Ooh, it's not so good for Raffian. Let's let Pine handle these things. She is weak to water, but her ground attacks will be really effective against Tentacool. You know, it's kind of nice that they give you Surf at this point of the game, because in order to use Surf on the field, you need to beat the Fuchsia Gym. And that is exactly what I want to do. Because we cannot progress farther in this route until we have the ability to use Surf. We have the attack, but we can't use it effectively. I'm thinking about what I could teach to Bella in place of Flash. I do have a few ideas. Let's see if I actually have this TM. I do have Sunny Day, which can be very helpful to her. I might teach it later, though. That'll also work really well with an attack we're going to get much later on. But yeah. I'll definitely consider that for later. You can easily take that, Bella. It's kind of strange, despite being water Pokemon, Goldeen don't learn a lot of water-type attacks naturally. And because Goldeen has a higher physical attack stat, and water is a special attack in this game, they just don't really effectively use their water attacks that well. I still kind of like Goldeen, but I don't really use him that often. It's not a Pokemon I'm really that excited to use. I mean, compared to, like, Tentacruel and Slowpoke, there are just so many good water types, but Goldeen is just not one of them. Anyway, let's wrap up this battle. Alright. Ooh, that's chilly. Watch out for Tentacle. Their sting is powerful. We cannot go any farther. So now it's finally time to take on the gym. Now, just a heads up, honestly, we are under-leveled for this gym, but we can still handle it. Oh yeah, Guard 2. No, I have played Pokemon Platinum. In fact, it's one of my favorite games in the series. Yo, Champion Macon. Fuchsia Gym's a tricked-up place, riddled with invisible walls. Koga might appear close, but he's blocked off. You have to find gaps in the walls to reach him. So yeah, this gym's gimmick is that it has invisible walls. You can just barely make them out if you look at the corners of the tiles. But yeah, we're gonna have to navigate this maze in order to reach the gym leader. So, the Fuchsia City Gym. Its gym leader specializes in poison-type Pokemon. Do you know what the gym trainers use? Psychic types. Because that makes total sense. I just never understood this. Why his gym is full of psychic type trainers. It never made sense to me. Whatever, my team is still gonna just decimate these guys. As long as Raffian can hold out with leftovers, we should be good. Come on, a little more. Ha! You just wasted your turn! If you used Psychic, you could have gone to crit and finished Raffian off. Now eat it! And with that, Raffian grew to level 34. And now she's learning Flamethrower. This is a 95 base power fire attack with a chance of inflicting burn. I am definitely learning that. Because this is a great attack. Ooh, Kadabra. Let's use Crunches now. In case it wasn't obvious before, I put Crunches on my team to serve as my Psychic type counter. He has really high special defense, which will be great for handling the powerful Psychic types we'll be encountering in the game. And he has Shadow Ball, which makes great use of his high physical attack and does super effective damage to Psychic types. So, with Crunches on the team, I don't think I have to worry that badly about Psychic types for the rest of the game. Now, I believe this guy... Well, I have some beef with this guy. He has a level 38 Hypno, a fully evolved Psychic type. And this is one of the strongest Pokemon that you can possibly encounter by this point in the game. Needless to say, this thing is very annoying. And in another game, it had caused me a great deal of grief. Which is why I'm really looking forward to Crunches decking this thing in the face with a Shadow Ball. Hypno are actually pretty effective Pokemon. They're not as powerful as Alakazam, but they have much higher defensive stats. And their offenses are pretty balanced, so it can use both physical and special attacks very well. And it also has access to moves like Hypnosis and Poison Gas to inflict status moves. So, it is a decent Pokemon. Just outclassed in a few ways by others. Extraordinary! Yes, wasn't it? And we even got Bella some experience. All of Bella's attacks are resisted by the gym leader, so she is not going to see any use here. Meanwhile, Pine is going to be real good. I was a magician once upon a time, but I dreamt of becoming a ninja, so I joined this gym. Yeah, I don't think that's how ninjas dress. Whatever. We'll just let Pine handle this sap. Alright, and now let's test out our new attack. I actually kind of recommend that you teach Strength to any Pokemon on your team who can learn it. Just because it has a really solid base power, and as a normal type attack, it's not resisted by a whole lot of attacks. So it's just really good as an attack that you need for pretty much any battle. It's really good. Ooh, that lowered my special defense. Psychic does have a chance of that. And that can be very dangerous. Because of that, I'm going to switch Pine out here. Because another Psychic could just wreck her. Come on, Crunches. Ooh, that was a critical hit, and that only did like a quarter damage. Way to go, Crunches. I love this big bear. Like, it's still weird how there's so many Psychic-type Pokemon in this Poison-type gym. I mean, Drowsy and Hypno can learn Poison Gas, so I can kind of see the correlation. But that doesn't explain why Kadabra is here. At least that takes care of that. Alright, only a few more battles to go. I also studied the way of the ninja with Master Koga. Ninja have a long history of using animals. Do they? Edgar. Finally, we're actually seeing a Poison-type Pokemon in this gym. This should not be too much of a problem. Even with the Intimidate, Pine should easily be able to handle an Arbok. Yeah, take that. Okay, one more attack should do it. Stop that. understand this guy also has a Sandslash. I mean, he has good taste in Pokemon, but it's not a poison type. I mean, Sandshrew and Sandslash can learn Poison Sting, but that's not really a good justification. Oh well, we still took him out. Let's get Pine back in. You should be able to handle this one too. Guard 2, to answer that question, I believe that for certain Twitch accounts, they only get a subscribe button if they are partnered with Twitch. Which only happens if the streamer gets, like, a big enough audience. And if they, like, post updates, like, frequently enough. Unfortunately, because of my work schedule, I'm probably not going to reach that point. But, hey, it's fine. I'm just streaming for fun. And just having you follow me is still effective. And I really appreciate that. So there's 2 more trainers we can fight here before the gym leader. Let's heal up Raffian. And test out our new attack. Hi. Master Koga comes from a long line of ninjas. What did you descend from? I mean, I'm like Polish on my mother's side. Whatever. Let's test our new attack. Barbecue tapir, my favorite. Yes, we even got the burn. That's so good. Let's hit it again. Ah, yeah, that's some good damage. Let's see how you do against a Hypno. This thing obviously has better stats, but I like to take my chances. Not bad. We should be able to free KO it. And of course, Leftovers is doing great for restoring our health. I really do like the Leftovers item. It is very awesome. I just like hold items in general. It's kind of upsetting that for Let's Go, that they're apparently not using held items, which, I don't know, that's just kind of weird. Ah, that is very nice. And of course, getting Raffian experience right now is very important. Because in just 2 more levels, she will finally soar. Stop right there! The famed invisible walls of Fuchsia Gym have you frustrated? Not really, it's actually a very straightforward puzzle when you know where to look. Phil. Luckily, Sandslash doesn't learn that many ground attacks naturally, so we should be good. Yeah, that's some nice damage. Oof. Critical hit. But that's okay, we outspeed you. And that takes care of that. Yes. And an Arbok. reach. Hopefully we'll be able to take it out on the next turn, because if not, an attack from this thing could really hurt. One more level. Oh, I'm so excited. My little baby girl's almost all grown up. I got plenty of healing items, so I'm not gonna bother going to the Pokemon Center yet. I mean, honestly, I'm not too scared of this gym leader. His Pokemon are high level, but we should still do pretty good. And that's the way for the maze. As always, you'll want to save before an important battle. I highly recommend that you have a Psychic type and a Ground type before going into this gym battle. And I also suggest you have plenty of... Ooh, I only have one antidote. Well, I recommend you have more status healing items than I do. That's just distressing. Alright, let's do this.
A mere child like you dares to challenge me? The very idea makes me shiver with mirth. Very well, I shall show you true terror as a ninja master. Poison brings steady doom. Sleep renders foes helpless. Despair to the creeping horror of poison-type Pokémon!
Koga, the Ninja Master of Fuchsia City. He starts off with a coughing. I'm using Margarine for this because she has quite a few Psychic-type attacks, and she can put it to sleep with Sleep Powder. This coughing will use self-destruct if given the chance, so you definitely want to try and take it out as quickly as possible. Whew, that's really good. Next he's gonna send out Muck. This is the only Pokemon on his team that'll be really effective, but that your Ground-type Pokemon will be really effective with. So, this is where you'll want to save them. This Muck is still a challenge. It's very bulky, and it's got Minimize, which you can use to increase evasiveness. So eventually, taking this thing out can come down to luck. I only need one more attack on this thing. Ooh. It also has Acid Armor to increase its defense and make itself more bulky, so it does have that going for it. Let's use Sand Attack to make this an eye for an eye. Given that it's just used an evasiveness move, we might as well lower its accuracy. Let's go underground again. Dig is good not just for dealing super effective damage, but also evading certain attacks. Ugh, this thing is like really getting there. It's making me a little annoyed. Ah, shoot. Come on, Pine. Get a crit, please. Ooh, Toxic. That is one of Koga's signature attacks. Ugh. Didn't get it. Toxic is basically like poison powder, but 100 times worse. Essentially what Toxic does is that it starts out doing like 1/16th of the damage of your Pokemon's max damage, but on every turn that your Pokemon has been affected by Toxic, the damage dealt to it increases. So it'll start with low damage, then it'll start gradually doing more over time. So right now I know that Pine's not going to do a whole lot of damage to this Muck right now. So I'm pretty much just stalling for time using Sand Attack on it, so that my next Pokemon will have a better time facing it. This Muck can just get really annoying because of its evasiveness and by being able to buff its defenses. Like, this thing is a monster. Okay, no more use keeping Pine in here. Let's go back to Margarine. Man, it's a good thing this thing isn't an Alolan Muck, because then my Psychic attacks would be completely ineffective against it. Ah, come on. Come on. Ah, that's not a lot of damage. Damn it. Can I put this thing asleep? Yes! Come on, let's go for Dream Eater. Yes, that is good. Now just stay asleep for a little while longer, and everything will be good. Nah, crap. Come on. Come on, Margarine. Yes, that's good. Almost got it. Just one more attack will do it. And of course he uses the Hyper Potion again. Come on. We don't have much time. Ah, that's bad. Margarine cannot take another attack. Oh! But it doesn't matter because poison damage. You did your best, Margarine. So we can't send out Pine. Bella's not going to be effective. Let's go for Mimian. I was going to save Mimian for his ace, but I think now is just as good a time as any. It's so evasive. Do I want to set up a Reflect? Yeah, let's set up a Reflect now to lower how much damage we'll take from its physical attacks. And then let's go for the offensive. Mimian doesn't really have that much HP or defense, so pretty much any hit would be devastating. Because yeah, that would have been double that had I not used Reflect. But that takes care of Muck. So Koga's down to his last two Pokemon. He's got a second Coughing. It's exactly the same as his first one, so same tactics apply. Take it out as quickly as you can before it can explode. Why couldn't I have gotten a critical hit sooner? And this is his ace, Wheezing. This thing is level 43. It's strong, is very bulky, And it's higher level than anything on my team. Let's hope we can take this. No! Come on! Mind me in! Crunches. It's time to make some wheezing pancakes! Stop that! Come on, it only used smoke screen like once. Just hit it! Well, that battle could have gone better. That's what happens when you go into a gym battle underleveled. Hoo boy. And our reward for that is the TM for Toxic. If you have very bulky Pokemon, Pine Fainted, whatever. If you have very bulky Pokemon, Toxic is a very good attack to use to whittle down your opponent's health. Oh, man. Well, at least that takes care of the gym. And we got ourselves a shiny new badge. Now, we could use Surf to go south of Fuchsia City, but there is still some stuff that we can do back in Saffron City that we haven't done yet. Alright, take care, Guard 2. Going west of here, we can find this route. And it's full of bird keepers. There's nothing on this route that we haven't already seen in terms of Pokemon, so you're not really missing out on anything. Let's use Gust. Yeah, that takes you out. I'm probably gonna end the stream in a few minutes, so this will be one of the last areas that we explore in this. I don't know, I'd say that overall this has been a pretty good stream, and now that I got everything set up, I am really looking forward to getting back to doing more streams in the upcoming weeks. Like, my schedule next week in terms of work is not very bad, so I'll definitely try to get some more streams done. And because kind of my goal is to try and finish streaming Pokemon LeafGreen before Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee are released, because they're going to take up a lot of my time, and I'm probably not going to be doing a lot of streaming while I'm playing those games. I haven't said it yet, but I'm definitely going to be picking up Let's Go Pikachu over Eevee. Main reason I want to do that is because the exclusive Pokemon to Let's Go Pikachu are ones that I haven't really used in Kanto for a long time. Like, I haven't used Growlithe or Oddish in just for quite a while. I mean, in other games I have used them plenty, but it's just been so long since I played Red and Fire Red, so it'll be interesting to use them again in Kanto. Also, Let's Go Pikachu has Sandshrew, and as I made very apparent throughout these streams, I really love Sandshrew and Sandslash. So yeah, I am very much looking forward to that when it finally comes. Chair. I wish I had a bike. Don't worry, man. Getting a bike is really easy. All you have to do is listen to this guy talk about how he fornicates with a Rapidash. How do you like my bird call? It could use some work. Hello, Ramiro. Ooh, Dodrio. I remember this Dodrio also being a Pokemon that has slighted me in a previous game. Ooh, Pursuit. We're finally getting to see that move in action. Pursuit is a Dark-type attack that does double damage to a Pokemon that is trying to get out of a battle. So yeah, it can be a very mean attack. Especially if your Pokemon is already very low level. Has low HP, I mean. Take that. Alright, Marjoram grew to level 35. That's very nice. I collect sea Pokemon on weekends because the sea's so close. That's nice. Ooh, what do we got now? Hello, Doduo. I've already got you, so there's no sense really doing anything. Now, I believe there's something good in this building. I'm looking for the Pokemon Slowbro. Want to trade one for my Licky Tongue? I do not have a Slowbro, but if I do get one, I'll definitely want to take it here. Because this is the only way you can get Licky Tongue in the game. So if you're going for Pokédex completion, you'll definitely want to pick that up. To the west of here is the Cycling Road, which is a path we could have taken to get to Fuchsia City, which is honestly much faster than taking the other route. But it's almost been 2 hours since I started this, so I think I'm going to call it here. So yeah, this has been a very good stream, I'd say. It's just been really good to play this game again after so long. I'm really happy to be back in the swing of things, and I'll definitely be looking forward to the next one. Alright. So this is where we're going to call it for today. Next time on Pokemon LeafGreen. we're gonna take the cycling road back to Celadon, and then we're gonna head back to Saffron City in order to see what we can do there. Have a good night and take care.